I'm a leg, I'm a leg, I'm a leg, I'm a leg. I'm a leg, I'm a leg, I'm a leg, I'm a leg.
Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Voltron Legendary Defender, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Hayley Nabuurs.
Hello.
Jeff Anderson.
Howdy.
And our lore master, Andy Potter.
Hello.
Yes, as alluded to, we are getting into episodes 3 and 4 of Voltron Legendary Defender, Monsters and Mana and the Colony. Episodes 3 and 4 of Season 6. We are covering all of Season 6 of Voltron here at the Overly Animated Podcast. Find us at overlyanimated.com or search for Overly Animated Voltron on iTunes and subscribe there on YouTube. Tonight is our future Voltron Season 6 podcast. We are watching as we go, so we have not seen beyond episodes 3 and 4 yet, so no spoilers beyond episodes 4. Just spoilers for Monsters and Mana, The Colony, and all previous Season 6 episodes. To open the podcast, you heard I'm a Leg by The Shakeups, a power pop music collective whose new album Legendary Defenders is out now. Check out theshakeups.net for more on them, and we'll hear more of that song at the end of the podcast. Big fan of having I'm a Leg song. That's very funny. And we'll be getting into Monsters and Men and the Colony. A lot to talk about here. I have D&D experts on the case and also an actual plot episode. So we'll see which one we start with. But let's get into this. What are your initial takes on these two episodes, Hayley?
I think they were actually really good. Like, I think the first one was a great example of an episode that doesn't really have a whole lot of plot to it, but is still actually really entertaining and doesn't just feel like a basic filler episode that you're going to skip when you rewatch it. Like, it's kind of like a really fun episode that is interesting and probably good for like characterization and stuff like that. I thought the whole premise about how they're basically in a D&D kind of Altean D&D game, it was great, and all of the characters were great, and the design of everyone's characters was really neat and probably took a lot of effort, but I think they did a really good job with it. So that was very entertaining. And then the Colony was good as well. I liked that we learned about the new Altean, that wasn't just like shuttled off and we would have to wait till like the finale to see what was going on there. I'm happy Keith is back, especially I love Keith's little crew. They're so awesome. So that was cool. And also pleased that Lotor is confirming my suspicions that he wasn't actually all good. Like, there was something going on there, and I'm happy that I wasn't just like reading into something that wasn't there. And that Allura didn't get swept under his spell and stood up for herself, so that was good as well. But I was really happy with both these episodes. They made me very happy.
Thumbs up. Isn't all good is kind of an understatement. We'll get into that.
I know.
Yeah, you guys were so like Lotor. He's too good. He must be bad. He saw it coming. Okay,
he's pretty bad.
Jeff, what are your takes on these two episodes?
Yes, Hayley and I told you all.
We knew.
You knew.
I thought Monsters and Men was pretty fun. Although, like, given everything else going on in like the main story arc, I was like, let's get back to it. But yeah, it was fun. It was a bit of a. I feel like they were able to work a little bit of the Shiro overarching plot into a few of his interactions in the game, like how he has no imagination about, I just want to be a paladin. Like that really gels with everything else weird going on with him lately. Colony was amazing. Loved it. Just so much plot. So, although it was a little bit confusing, I'm like, what did they do in the Quintessence field? They don't really explain it. They just,
it's pretty vague.
Who knows? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, well, I think probably they just infused. I guess they finished infusing the ships with Quintessence in order to go into the Quintessence field. Yeah, not clear what they did. Got readings on it, research, but I guess we'll see.
Samples.
Yeah, samples. Yeah. I don't know.
Whatever that means.
Maybe we'll see.
Whatever anything means.
Yeah. Andy, what did you think of these two episodes?
Well, episode 3 was everything I could have asked for, Dylan. It was honestly perfect. It was incredible. If you don't play D&D, this episode was great. It really showed a lot of what was fun about playing D&D. If you play D&D, these episodes have so many little things going on because every one of the members of Voltron is like a different kind of player of D&D. They're all great, and they really emphasized that Koran was like a dungeon master, a game master, a war master, like they said in the show. Like he was really they showed that everyone was just. It takes effort from everybody to make a game go, and I just loved it so much. On top of that, the jokes were hilarious. Like I think I was laughing at pretty much every scene in this episode. And like Jeff said, they brought in stuff from Shiro being like he kept getting the same character because he's unquote unquote a clone in the show. We'll see what he actually is, but I found that funny. But like yeah, the episode was incredible. I loved 3. 3 was amazing, and I guess there was a plot episode later. It was okay.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's we know what Andrew will be chiming in on more here.
I liked. To be more clear, 4 was fine. I thought it was a little slow in the middle during the flashback, but I liked some of the stuff at the end more.
Yeah. Okay. Liked Monsters and Mana. It was great. This was like the best type of this episode that this show has done, like a non-narrative heavy episode. They've, I think, probably struggled with silly stuff in the past, at least from my perspective, and this landed very well. I think it was very funny, and they really committed to the D&D/JRPG theme of it, and it worked. Especially fun for like people like us. So I thought it was wonderful. And the colony. I really like the colony. I think it's like up there with episode 2 so far as the standout ones of the season so far. I love the Lotor flashback stuff. I think that was, I guess it comes across a little random, you know, like Lotor, oh, he's bad. He's bad. He's good. No, he's bad. Like that's what you want a twist to do. You want it to be surprising because you would have set him up as now we trust him in order to, reveal that he's, you know, a mass murderer. But, it was a good, it was a really good flashback sequence to catch us up on what was happening. I thought it was very believable. Like it fit with the backstory, the gaps that we had in Lotor, the gaps that we had in Altea blowing up. Like everything kind of made sense. And then the end of the episode is very quick, but it's just setting up for the next 2 episodes or whatever. I don't know. You know, it's like an exciting setup. Shiro finally is happening. Still don't really know what's happening, but if he's a clone, if he's a sleeper cell, he was activated, so it's happening. And the Lotor and Allura stuff came to a head too. So we resolved that pretty quickly. Interested to see if there is romantic fallout with any other characters in the last 3 episodes, whether it be Lance or Allura with each other or with someone else, because clearly we've sunk the Allura Lotor ship very quickly. But they kissed. That was like the first time ever in Voltron Legendary Defender, something like that's happened. So I guess that ship won. Does that count as winning? If they kiss and then she takes him down immediately after?
Dude, that takedown was brutal. He bounced off the floor like 5 feet into the air when she slammed him. It was amazing.
And he didn't get up for the rest of the show. Like he's out cold for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Allura is stronger than I thought she was.
Yeah, Allura knocked him out, but clone/sleeper cell Shiro knocked other people out, but they didn't stay out. So I guess Allura's stronger than Shiro, confirmed.
Yeah,
or at least she had more anger behind what she was doing. Yeah. Yeah, that was, I think, the colony is very good, and I'm excited to talk about a lot of this stuff. Even if we don't have a lot of answers, and we're gonna have to get into them in future, episodes, the last 3 episodes of the season. So, unfortunately, I think we are gonna start with the colony here, Andy. I think this is a more consequential episode.
I get it.
Do you? Yeah.
I don't know if I do. I'll be waiting here. I'll be here.
Yeah.
Twiddling my thumbs.
Okay. So, Shiro activated. We don't have like grounds to, so we haven't seen the later episodes. We don't have grounds to say what was happening, but, was this what we expected, Jeff? Were you surprised what anything happened with Shiro here?
Not really. I mean, given the flash forward and Racer's Edge, I was like, okay, he's going to turn robot with purple eyes, and there he goes.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward in fulfilling that visions of the future that we got. So, I guess I guess they did that because there's more to come. Like that, you can just show the first part of what's happening with Shiro, but we still don't really know. Like presumably we will learn exactly what's happening. Like we saw Haggar watching, through him, and then she was like, do my bidding now. And, he did. Does
I was
it?
really annoyed that, like, in the past 3 episodes, ever since episode 1, when he kind of freaked out in the Shield complex, there's been nothing that they're just like, okay, cool, play D&D with us. We don't care. Like, you're freaking out, but whatever. It's like, put him in a medical bay,
Yeah, he had a sit down with I forget who, and he was like, I don't remember anything that happened when we were in the Voltron place. So
it was Lance, I think.
Lance, yeah. So
Yeah.
are we not raising the alarm on that? Like,
Nah. It's Shiro. He's fine. He'll take care of himself.
I mean, clearly they just trust Shiro, which I mean, it makes sense because he's like the leader and he's going to have the most built-in trust among any of them. But yeah, I feel like we could have prevented this if we were smarter. But I also think it makes sense that they're not smarter. Like, I buy that.
Yeah.
I buy it. Well, I don't buy that Allura wouldn't do it. Allura, I feel like, is smarter than everyone else.
Yeah, Allura.
But she's been with Lotor a bunch and doing Quintessence stuff, so.
Yeah,
she's probably missed
Allura's
this.
distracted. Yeah.
Yeah.
She also wasn't there when Shiro explained that he didn't hear anything, because she was in the weird white lion place. I forget the name.
Yeah, I think Lance should have debriefed everyone, but
Yeah,
he was distracted too with the romance drama. Wow, I think the reason everyone's going to die is because of Lance's feelings.
Great. He deserves that.
What? He's come so far. Well, we'll see how far he's come here. He really needs to not to try to swoop in with Allura at that. That would be old Lance, but I have confidence that new Lance will not do that.
Do you though?
Yes.
I don't.
Probably. I think that he's not gonna, and I don't think that the show is going to do that.
I'm worried that it will.
In the next 3 episodes, it can't do it this soon. Like, that would be crazy bad.
They've done crazy bad stuff really early on. They could do it again, Dylan.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. But, Hayley, reactions to Shiro?
I'm just happy it's actually happening now, because I feel like we've had a lot of little bits of him like going in and out and like, oh, something's gonna happen, and then nothing happens. So finally, like, it's confirmed Shiro's not all right and something's up with him and Haggar. I was also confused why she looked like Haggar and not like Minerva, but whatever, I'm sure that'll explain itself later. No, I liked it because it was also in a very like exciting climactic ending to this episode that was really fast paced and made it kind of I don't know if they should have dragged it out this long, but it made it feel kind of exciting and like a good, like, it's happening, like, here we go, all these things are happening. I still don't really understand what's going on. It seems like she's controlling him somehow. I like the idea of the whole Quintessence field playing a role in it, and about how maybe like the real Shiro is in the Quintessence field and Haggar's manipulating him through that, but we don't really know. But I think it was good, and I think it was in a really good scene as well, which was nice. I'm all for it. I think it's going to be a cool plot driving element, because it's not just them trying to fight someone who's evil that they don't like. Now they have to take care of Shiro and what's up with him too. So
yeah, we'll get the classic. The heroes like don't want to hurt Shiro, even though they're fighting against him.
Yeah,
that could be good. Mm-hmm. They in terms of the Quintessence field as a terminology update here, that Lance says that the Quintessence field turns Zarkon evil. So I talked last podcast, unsure of like if we have different types of fields going on here. I think that this episode implies that these are all the same place. The Quintessence field is what Nerva was researching. It's where they went. Allura and Lotor went this episode. It's like the thing in Ariane. It's probably where Shiro is. I think it's all the same place
Force,
here.
Basically,
I guess so.
Kind of like the Force.
If the Force is a dimension, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think that's a lot easier to understand. Because this was very confusing. It's still confusing how Quintessence works. But like at least there's a place. There's like alternate dimension. There's the upside down. Like that's where everything's going on.
I think that's all you're gonna get though, Dylan. We're not getting more than that.
I don't think so, but it's at least clear to me that this is just Stranger Things now. Like that's
okay.
And that's where
that's the level of explanation we're gonna get.
That's where Shiro's trapped. Justice for Shiro. He's trapped in the upside down. So I think we need to rescue him in the last 2 episodes.
Who
But
are which of the paladins of the kids in the town then, Dylan?
no,
Is
we
there
don't-
like
okay,
a...
no, we're not doing that. We have the token girl, so that's okay. No, I'm not making the comparisons. Okay, but yeah,
I
it's.
almost got you.
I liked that we spelled this out a little bit more. And Lance was also a voice for us in terms of clarifying things this episode. He also said he's watching Keith. He's like, he's bigger, right?
Yeah.
I'm so happy he noticed that. Like, that's so good.
And no one else commented on it. Literally no one else.
He's
Yeah.
like, guys, like, he's 2 years older.
Yeah, we were
No one
confused.
knows
Did Keith age? Yes, he's apparently
He did.
bigger. Not that we noticed.
He's more confident, too, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense. Lance is the only one that notices Keith changing because hashtag clans, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Hashtag plan.
I do wish they would have redone his design. Give him some facial or something. Just because
Something.
you can't just draw him bigger and
Yeah, that's what they did.
Relative sizes are really hard to see in these shows, and
They just hit the magnifying glass on his thing, and then it's got a little bit bigger.
I still don't notice that he's bigger. Like even
Now
after
that-
they pointed
okay.
it out, like I can't tell if he's really bigger or if it was just something Lance saw. It's just really not obvious. Yeah, I think maybe we should have changed his design a little bit, but at least we pointed it out. So yes, he's 2 years older than them. Mature Keith. He's got his space wolf. Well, hashtag wolf watch is happening. He was there. He didn't do anything though.
They also
And-
like the wolf. I think, was it Lance that liked the wolf or Hunker? One of them. They commented on it.
Yeah. Oh, you got to
Exactly.
comment on the
Put
wolf.
that-
down that flyer before Keith or Shiro got away. The wolf could have done it.
Yeah, wolf teleport and take down, to teleport places. And Crowley was there and they introduced her as his mom and they're like, what's happening? Yep. That all happened very quickly. Andy, what was your Shiro reactions?
I was not surprised at all. Not in the sense that it wasn't good, in just that we've been predicting this for a long time, that Shiro's not who he thinks he is. And I thought it was good. I thought this was a good way to do it. It came at a pivotal moment in the plot that Haggar turned him, and it felt correct. I'm glad that this came back and bit the Paladins badly, because it just felt like it should. That they should be caught off guard by this if they were never going to notice. And I just like this. I like that he helped the bad guys win, and we end this episode with this awesome standoff. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. And he seems to be fully, Haggar seems to be fully in control of him at the end. Do we think that there's going to be this moment where, it's, Allura comes up and it's like, Shiro, I'm your friend. You can break out of this. And then he's like, oh, what am I doing? Do we think that's going to happen?
I think it depends on whether this is, I think are we all on the train of this is a clone now?
Okay, well, let's quickly survey. Clone or sleeper cell? In general, Andy, you say clone.
I think it's clone, because I'm still convinced he died at the end of that other, was that season 2?
Season 2,
that he
yeah,
died?
season 2.
That he died then.
Yeah. Jeff, clone or sleeper cell?
Sleeper cell, because I don't know how just from DNA you can't reconstruct his personality and his memories unless you apply some very liberal magic space.
Magic, yeah. It's true. It is Shiro. This is a very perfect clone of him.
Is it an alternate dimension, Shiro?
Yeah, right. We also have alternate dimension. That's another
I think that's
option.
the same thing as clone, though. I put that in the same.
Yeah, different person or same person, basically. Yeah, different body. Yeah, Hayley, which one?
I don't know. I feel like I'm wondering if maybe, I don't know if this counts as a clone or a sleeper cell, but maybe he was reformed when he got obliterated at the end of that season. I don't know if that's a clone. I guess it's probably a clone. I feel like this, though, maybe I think a clone, because I don't think that this is Shiro entirely that we had before. He's a little different. Something happened to him, and he's been brought back. So I guess that counts as a clone. I don't really know what he is, though.
I'm very certain that real Shiro is in the Quintessence field, and
But maybe mentally.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This might be his body, and he's mentally separated, like his soul or his consciousness are trapped in the Quintessence field. Or it could be that this is a separate body, but Jeff brings up why that might be problematic. So I think probably it's going to end up being his body, and he's just dead, and I'm interested to see whether the show's the balls to keep him dead, or if we're just going to reinsert him.
the other dimension thought, though. That this could be another dimension Shiro. So then it, what is it then?
Yeah.
I like that.
I brought that up, but I was just throwing something out there. But I really like it too, Haley.
I like it. It's good. That's a good one.
That jumped into my head that they could be doing that.
They've been doing a lot of it lately, so it would make sense.
Yeah.
It's been
And
established.
they brought back the Quintessence field, and they mentioned alternate dimensions this episode. So
Yeah.
they could just be like, tell the audience.
Definitely we're getting into dimension things in the last 3 episodes, but it doesn't apply here. I don't know. So given what we think, like, will Shiro be able to break free?
If it's a clone, no. If it's a sleeper agent, yes.
Okay, Jeff, since you think sleeper cell, do you think we'll be able to get through to Shiro?
It's gonna be some roundabout, like, destroy the crystal that Minerva's using to control them.
Okay, yeah. Could do that too. That's another classic. Hayley?
Classic.
I'm now gonna go on the bandwagon that it's a alternate dimension Shiro. So I think in that case he could break free and keep his body and stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know. But maybe he remembers like his past before that happened or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to kill him outright, though. I think Shiro's going to be a character after this.
The way I think to keep Shiro in the show, even if you kill him, like clone body dead, Shiro still in the Quintessence field, we can't bring him back, is you make him a Yoda in the next season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like only Keith can talk to him in the Quintessence field when he accesses it. Like I think that's the way to go.
Or he talks to him through like the Black Lion or something, because Shiro did go to that Black Lion place in one of the seasons.
Right, he was trapped in the Black Lion. That was our thought at the end of season 2. Like that's probably the Quintessence field. Yeah, I think that'd be the way to do it. I don't think Shiro will. I don't think we'll be able to break free into Shiro, because I think Shiro's mentally is in the Quintessence field. So I don't think that you can get to him by talking to him. But I don't know. Maybe he'll break in. He'll break back in from where he is. I don't know. It's all guessing though. It's been very vague. Okay, let's talk Lotor, because rip good Lotor.
Is he still your emperor, Dylan?
I still side with Lotor. I
believe you don't care about a couple Altaeans, Dylan, and he's still Lotor.
Look, Lotor says sacrificed a few to secure the future for millions, and classic ends justify the means argument. Sure, I'm still that's enough for me. I'm still.
Well, see, I do like it because he clearly doesn't think he did something wrong. Not just from like I'm a bad guy stance, but he really thinks. I think he thinks he's doing the right thing, and I like that in a villain. Like I like that.
At the very least, that's what he's presenting to the Paladins. Yeah.
And I actually believe him. I don't think he's actually straight up lied to anybody once.
He kind of lied to them about
having Altaeans. I guess that
having Altaeans trapped.
But he can rationalize that, saying like, they do in their hearts want to help this cause, but if I told them the truth, they wouldn't want to go or something. He could rationalize that.
Look, Lotor's this what he says does fit in with the motivations we've been presented for Lotor. He's just very obsessed with Quintessence and special Quintessence and accessing the Quintessence field. So, he would do anything, and he thinks it's worth it because that's like the goal in life is for him to do that. So, I think this works with what he says. He also makes the argument that he saved the Altaeans that were off planet when Altea was destroyed. Which, by the way, I buy. Not all of them are going to be there. Yeah. Why didn't we think of this before? Like, why isn't...
And they can shapeshift, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, Dylan, they can shapeshift.
Has that been relevant at all? No, it
happened once.
Season 1. That's it.
No, this is not.
When Allura got big.
Yeah, it's not since. I
forgot that was a thing, though. So when we saw them and they were green, I was like, oh, there's green Altaeans. Cool.
Oh, they do shapeshift. Okay. That's why I didn't even make the connection. That's how that's how they were disguising themselves. That's
why they shrunk down like 2 feet.
When Hunk casts casts him big in on Pidge in the D&D episode is Pidge shapeshifting like Allura was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, see, here's the problem though. They still have those like weird things under their eyes that are like, how does no one else see that? Those are like the Altaean things under their eyes, even when they shapeshift.
Pretty obvious.
It's just like non-Altaeans culturally appropriating Altaeans, and like that's the hip new trend. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know why Allura didn't think that there were Altaeans off planet when it was destroyed. I guess she's been gone for a while. But Lotor makes the argument that he saved them when they would have been hunted down otherwise.
Which is true.
True, right?
That's true.
I buy it.
But he hunted them down.
Yeah, but they lived for like generations.
But
Andy, in a pretty place.
He saved them from being killed sooner.
Exactly.
Can I ask you something? What was he actually doing with them? Because he was sucking Quintessence out of them, but what was he doing with that?
With the Quintessence, he was using it. I don't know. They gave special Quintessence, so that's the reason that Crowley and Keith found the special Quintessence.
But we don't know what they're using it for.
I guess he was using it for to access the dimension. Like the whole thing with the dimension and the comet. Like he was only able to get that far because of the Altean Quintessence, I guess.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I mean he's using the life force of
turning Alteans into batteries.
Yeah, basically.
Well, he's kind of using Allura like that. That's why he's so excited, because she can do a lot with it.
Also, speaking of, I'd like to point out, Allura's dad, when he made, like, super comet ships, he turned them into lions. Lotor made actual battleships out of his comet.
Another point for Lotor.
Yeah, he actually knows how to make ships that can fight.
So you're saying that Lotor shouldn't have made like tiger ships? Like that wouldn't have been a good use of his time?
Okay, from a viewer's perspective, yes, he totally should have made some dumb animal. But from like an actual like pragmatic like standpoint, yes, he made the better ships.
I guess we'll see in this coming battle whether the Lotor's comet ships versus, which apparently have a name, but the episode hasn't said it yet, so I'll hold off. Versus the lions and who is more powerful, because usually we believe that the lions are the most powerful. However, at the end of this episode, they're like, we can't beat them, just as the lions. We have to form Voltron.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. At the same time, Voltron stole the ships, so doesn't that mean they're more powerful, even though they're just combining? But that leads us to Dark Voltron theory, because it's the only way to defeat Voltron is to combine Lotor ships, but there's only 2 of them. So.
Well, no, but I think the one that his lieutenant's in has 3 seats, and the one that Lotor was flying before had 2 seats, one for Allura, remember? So it's 5 seats, so we can still have Dark Voltron.
Voltron's not based on the number of seats you have in your craft. It's how many
Power Rangers.
How many parts how many vehicles?
He had a few at one point, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Like all the generals had one.
No, they were all flying in the one.
Yes, yeah.
There's also like special ships versus other ships, and some other ships aren't the special. I'm pretty sure there's only 2 comet ships that we know of right now.
Yeah.
Maybe Lotor, another point for him, he's better with his resources. He can like use only 2 ships to match the might of 5.
Yeah, okay, I don't know why we're comparing Lotor versus Allura's dad, but...
Lotor is a clear winner in that competition.
So are you still on Team Lotor, Hayley, after this?
Yes. Well, I'm on Team Haggar, so I think I have to be on Team Lotor. Like, I knew he was going to turn evil, so it didn't really come as a shock. I wasn't expecting it, like, my suspicions to be confirmed so quickly, but I'm down for it. Yeah, I'm all for, like, Haggar and Lotor and all of them. I love them. So yeah, I'll root for the villains in this fight.
They're more interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, they're way more interesting. Yeah. They actually have things going on.
Yeah, speaking of this, Haggar uses Shiro to save Lotor. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that they are on opposing sides of the Galran conflict right now. Like Haggar is controlling Sendak, and Sendak is the main opposing force to Lotor in control of the Galran Empire. Why does Haggar even want to save Lotor?
I don't think she wants to save him.
She want to use him?
Yeah.
For what purpose?
Is she going to turn him into like another Zarkon? Like another like just...
Yeah, I always need a figurehead male relative in order to run
that. That's what she needs, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ever get the impression that Haggar cared that much about Galran politics.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a means to an end for something. So I don't think that matters that they're on the opposing sides of the Galran War. She just needed to break off to continue whatever her project was. So maybe she needs Lotor for that now, or maybe she still sees Lotor as an ally. I mean, it is her son, and she does know that now.
And she seemed sad when she realized that as well. Like, I think she still cares for him in her own Haggar-y way. So maybe she was going to save him because she saw that, like through Shiro's view, she saw that they were meeting up and maybe going to make a move against him. So she came in to save him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could just be saving him from being killed or imprisoned by the Paladins. Yeah. But also it is kind of coincidentally at the same time that she sent the generals to hijack his ships. Which maybe is coincidentally because she was watching the whole time through Shiro. So I guess she maybe knew this was Shiro was in danger, or this was the prime time to strike because they just got back from the Quintessence field. Like, was she using Lotor and like just waiting for him to accomplish like the Quintessence stuff, Quintessence field stuff?
Yeah,
but I mean, can't she do it now too though? Because she went to the place that Allura went to.
Right, and that's the other thing, is that at the end of episode 1, she goes to Oriand and turns back into Onerva, and then no mention of that in this episode.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Maybe now she's cloaking again, in case they see her.
I guess, but I mean, like, if she went there, I don't understand how her plan could need Allura, because that's what it feels like it needed, because she finished the ship and then Haggar had the people show up. But can't Haggar do that now because she went to Oriand?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think
call it the White Lion place because that's what it is.
Yeah, I do think she can do what Allura can do in theory, but it's kind of not clear. Anyway, back to Lotor. So Lotor's a mass murderer.
Yep.
He literally had a concentration camp. That's just what he had.
Yeah. Was this too quick / big of a turn for our image of Lotor? Because everyone on the show is trusting him, and then in the span of one episode, he goes to being murdering all these Alteans.
I don't. Go ahead.
I feel like it was a curious choice to have this whole big thing be just a flashback in the middle of all of this episode. Maybe it should have been a part of its own episode, and then the fallout happens in the next episode. It just sort of gives more time for it to percolate. I don't know. Yeah,
it's like Lotor being evil is a huge news, and it's not even the climax of the episode.
Right.
It's like the Shiro, and then the Haggar in general stuff is happening. It's like this was in the span of 15 minutes that we got this flashback with Lotor. What was your reaction, Andy, to it?
I think it's a little fast, but I'm holding out judgment till we see what he was trying to do, because we don't know that yet. We just know that it obviously is bad. I don't think it's good. I don't think he's a good guy, but I do want to know what his plan was before I decide whether.
Yeah, but does it? So I think even if his plan is to really genuinely to bring world peace through accessing the Quintessence field, he's still bad, right?
No, he's definitely still bad. I'm just not sure whether I like this reveal, or I just want to see how we dole this out. I want to see if we go immediately to explaining this, or we just leave it. If they don't say anything about this ever again, I'm going to be kind of upset about this. But if we actually get into it a bit, I'll like this a lot.
I guess it's not clear what Lotor's ultimate motivations are still, because he does give that explanation to Allura. However, in the moment, his motivations are going to be to try to have Allura not turn against him, so he could be lying.
Like what I would like is if we actually, if the end game here is to try to save the Alteans, and then we have to talk about what's going on there. Like that would be kind of what I'm looking for to end this season.
Yeah, I guess he wants the future for millions. He says, I don't know. He wants a future for alternate dimension Alteans. Maybe.
I don't really mind whatever it is. I just want them to actually get into it in some way. This is not enough for me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think if it's the status of the show is now Lotor bad. No, we need to delve into what's been going on more, because this has been such a constant throughout the past several episodes, seasons.
And this is kind of this is running counter to what we've seen in earlier seasons to what he does, because we've always been seeing him as someone who protects his subjects. He seems to really want to make sure people are happy in his empire. So this really goes against that a lot.
Yeah, one of our introductions to Lotor is that he lets his the planets that he's ruling as a Gauran be autonomous.
Yeah.
I guess he kind of does that here, because the planet within the quantum abyss that he brings the Alteans to, he sets them free, but then he also poaches a ton of them.
Yeah, he also runs a Hunger Games type thing, like you're picked, you're all coming in.
How does he judge who the coolest ones are in order to take their energy?
Quintessence sensors, Dylan.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I think this speaks badly to the way he was presenting himself earlier, in that maybe he was on the surface letting these planets be autonomous, but had deeper subversive actions to them. Maybe he's not outright ruling over them, but he's still being really harmful to the citizens of these planets. It could go along with that, and it's just how Lotor has been presenting himself has just been a lie all along. Or maybe this really was just his one bad action, because he is so obsessed with accessing the Quintessence field. Maybe this was the one thing, and he really has been a good person other than this. I mean, now he's not a good person because this is so horrible. But I think the question is were we being lied to about Lotor other than this, or like is it just like Lotor is bad all around, or is it just like this is the one thing, and like what are his ultimate motivations, and like will we see him as salvageable at all? Will Allura like be able to ever speak to him again? Like he's still in charge of the Galran Empire. That's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
The Paladins have been in alliance with them. Like, how's that gonna play into this? Presumably, we will not have the Voltron alliance with Lotor run Galra at the end of the season. Something's gonna happen there. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This changes a lot.
And they really leave us on a cliffhanger here. I have no idea where we're gonna go with this.
Like, there's a whole, like, you know, is there reconciliation possible? Like, can he turn good? Whatever. I don't think that Allura will ever let that happen. I mean, she's been so protective about her people, like, oh, my people are dead and whatever. Like, the fact that he has them and has lied about it and has been killing them is just like, I think that's just too much.
Yeah, I don't think Allura's ever going to forgive him. I agree, because that's just like what our whole character is surrounded on is being an Altean, and this is just like unforgivable. And I think that one of the things about how they focus this Lotor portrayal is they center it around Allura and her feelings for Lotor. Like it's seen through Allura's eyes, and that like they kiss, and then she learns this truth. Like we see it build up with the romance there, and maybe that grounds this at like this huge high level twist with Lotor, this turning of him into bad. Like it's centered around a character we know and a big emotional attachment through her. So I think the fallout of that is equally as important as Lotor bad now. And yeah, her taking him down and his explanation to her, I thought that was all really great.
If he does turn good, I think his only redemption is to like sacrifice himself and die. Like,
yeah,
I just don't see him making the sacrifice play. Lotor doesn't seem. He seems like he believes that he's the one who can make everything better. So him dying is just not a thing that's allowed.
Unless like he wants to protect Allura. Like if he actually has feelings for her, I don't know.
Right, that is a good question. Does Lotor actually like Allura? I don't think we've seen anything contrary to that in the show.
No, but it's also clouded over with like his love for Quintessence, and she kind of represents that to him in a way. So maybe that is a form of him loving her. I don't know, but I don't know. I like all this though, because I think it really supports Lotor being a very gray character in terms of what his motivations are, because he has done good things. Like he saved the Alteans, and they were fine for a while until he started killing them off. But then he rationalizes it, and I think that Lotor thinks what he is doing is good and justified, which is really interesting. Rather than just being like, I think he rationalizes it by thinking like he's probably sad that he is hurting the Alteans, but like you said, it's for a greater good. And I think he actually legitimately believes that, which makes him such an interesting character.
Yeah, at least that's the way he's presenting himself to the Paladins. Yeah, and the question is like, was Lotor furthering this potential romance with Allura because she's the only one that can access the Quintessence field, like she's the only one that succeeded on Oriand,
or do they like each other legitimately?
Yeah,
it's tricky.
I think it's up in the air. I think like the show hasn't contradicted that he genuinely likes her though.
No, they get along well, like chatting on everying. So
yeah, so we'll see about that. And in terms of the Lotor sacrifice thing, I think the true marker of whether he is he does ultimately have like good intentions is whether he would be willing to sacrifice himself in order to achieve the accessing the Quintessence field. Like, is it that he's fine with everyone else getting that and prospering, or is it that he has to be the shepherd of that? Like, is it ultimately a selfish ambition or not? So I guess I could see the show getting into that, although I doubt Lotor is going to die at the end of the season because he's just such a good character and we have a whole 26 more episodes. So I think that'd be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Okay. And last thing about the colony, Romelle is our Altean. We didn't talk too much about her.
One of my new favorite characters.
She's cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
What do you like about her, Hayley?
I just another female character, honestly, that was a big plus for me. And then she's Altean, which is cool. And I like that she wasn't just like a puppet in this whole game. with Lotor and everything else. Also, she's part of Keith's gang now, so that like boosts her up a ton. But yeah, I hope she sticks around because they really do need another female character and one that is actually doing something and has at least a little bit of agency. So yeah, no, I just liked her. I think she's cool.
It'd be cool to keep around. Also, though, I think the backstory implies that there's more Altaians alive on that planet.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Tons.
We don't see them, but like the way Romelle tells the story is that Keith and gang came in like during like her active telling of the story. So there's just other Altaians alive on the planet, ones that hadn't been taken to the quote unquote colony. They're still there. So if they can get back into the quintessence, into the the quantum, it's the quantum abyss, it would they'd be able to get more Altaians back. That's a pretty big change in the show's status, I think.
What I am worried about now that we're talking about this, about Romelle, is that I am concerned that Keith and his mom just happened upon the one Altaian in the colony that doesn't like Lotor. Like, that seems kind of coincidental to me. And it might just be a coincidence. It might just be like that, but it seems a little coincidental to me, so maybe there's more to this story than we're getting so far. That's
interesting. Yeah, you're right, that if they found any other Altaians, that wouldn't have been they wouldn't have discovered the truth.
They wouldn't have told that story to them.
Yeah.
No. It's also neat too because he, like, Lotor is basically a god to them. So it's going to be interesting if they do, and I think they will eventually get Voltron to wherever this place is, trying to convince them that Lotor is evil, because I don't think they're going to be game for that, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they need to show them pretty convincing evidence that. But I think if they showed them come to the moon and see what's happening, then they'll be pretty convinced.
Yeah. And it looks like they did find that Keith and Corellia, but I do think it is kind of strange that that's the one person they found.
It is.
I think it's more of a plot convenience thing than a conspiracy. But
probably
we'll see. It is. Now that you pointed out, it is weird that it seems unlikely, but I think that's just a narrative convenience. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I think the Quintessence pushing them together.
Oh yes, the Force drew them to each other. Yeah, that's possible. And more Altaians on the show, so more friends for Alara than Corin. That'll be good. Okay, let's talk monsters and mana. And we don't have that long, so Let's get into it. Andy, what are your top reasons why you loved the presentation of D&D in this episode?
Because it actually shows a game of D&D, and it doesn't just show if you've seen the community episode of D&D that they have, that is not Dungeons and Dragons. That's just not Dungeons and Dragons. It's just people saying funny things. This is actually a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that they're playing, and they're just doing funny things together because they're friends. And that's why this is a good episode and why it's a great representation of Dungeons and Dragons. You can see moments when they're playing where they made bad rolls. You can see moments when they make good rolls. And they really emphasize that this is all in their heads. This isn't a real thing that's happening. And I just love it so much. They even call out that Shiro made a backstory for himself, and Coran had a thing ready for that. And Shiro's like, well, I just made that up. And Coran's like, well, that's what I'm doing. And they really emphasize that this is all just people making fun for themselves. This isn't a means to an end. This is what they're trying to do. They're just trying to play a game. There's not some goal at the end for team building or trying to help somebody like in the community episode. This is honestly the best representation of Dungeons and Dragons in, I think, any media besides the actual game itself. This is better than Stranger Things. This is better than Life is Strange. It's just really amazing. I love it so much.
Life is Strange also had a D&D campaign and kind of in full, but
this is much better.
Mysticons is D&D. That's another good one. Yeah. And, but it's noticeable, how much this is a full campaign, and, there's a twist, in the campaign story, and, we see the beginning of the characters, their backstory, we add the characters in, it seems very complete, yeah.
They even do the thing where the party didn't get together almost, which happens anytime you play D&D, where Pigeon Hunk left the inn without Shiro, and that happens every time you play, no matter what. There's always some time where you can't get the party to get together.
That's a good one, yeah. They weren't interested.
There's that's boring, fine.
Yeah. You brought up another great moment, which was the when Karan and Shiro were talking about like the backstories, like how you just incorporated that. I just said it, like that was wonderful. Like that seemed like such a love letter to D&D playing.
It's clear these people that wrote this episode really enjoy playing D&D because they just referenced so many moments. It's just incredible. I don't know how they did it. They even had a Featherfall involved. When they all fell down that thing, like they referenced actual spells from the game. It was so good.
What's your assessment of Karan as a lore master, as a fellow lore master?
Oh, he's great. Karan was the best because he actually gave them things that they enjoyed. It was clear that he was crafting things specifically because his players would enjoy it. He gave them all magic items that weren't like just all powerful things, but things that he knew his players would enjoy. And that's what you need to do. Like each player found something like, yeah, this is awesome. But none of the other characters would have picked up that item and thought, oh, that's awesome. It's great. He was doing stuff like that the entire time. I really loved it. And he was even doing little voices sometimes, and it was really good. I mean, he's an actual voice actor, the voice actor for Karan, so he could actually do stuff like that really well.
Wait, you're saying that the voice actor voicing Karan is an actual voice actor? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm saying he could actually make different
and also his NPCs, I think, like had mustaches on them.
Yeah,
like
no, that
Karan
was
in.
too.
That
Like,
was a
the
great little
mushroom
detail.
that had like a little mustache. It was good.
Yeah, him introduced as the Innkeeper is pretty great, and
Yeah.
then it's like a relevant thing to the plot. Like that's so wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, I also really loved that Koran went over that you can play whoever you want. None of the paladins really jumped out of their like comfort zone, but I think that was a necessary thing for like animation. We had to see who everyone was. But I like that they had a moment where Koran said, "You can play anybody. You don't have to be yourself in this game." And I really love emphasizing that in Dungeons and Dragons. When I play Dungeons and Dragons, not DMing, I usually play someone who does not look like me at all because that's what I enjoy doing. And I really like that they emphasize that.
Yeah, nice. Also, at the same time, this is a JRPG, I think,
Yes.
episode as well. They have life bars above the characters at several points. They have this one part where Allura like goes to shoot, and like we see the menu pop up, and then there's one part where we go full like 8-bit or whatever with the smashing vases in the inn. And then there's also like the credits at the end are also chiptune 8-bit.
It was so good. Oh, and the other time with Health Bar I really loved was Allura jumping off the branch and hitting the ground and taking damage. Like, that's just totally something someone in a playing D&D would do. Like, I want to do something cool and jump off this tree. Like, well, you're going to take damage. Like, I still want to do it. Yeah.
Is there fall damage in this game? Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through all the characters and who they are. Pidge is Meklavar, an axe fighter dwarf. I guess because she's short. She's a dwarf here. Meklavar, pretty cool. We have Hunk as Block the Sorcerer.
Yep.
Hunk naming himself Block. Interesting choice.
Yeah. I also didn't like that Block also really loved food. I thought that was a little unnecessary, writers. We didn't need
we're
that.
back to the food thing with Hunk. We got past it one episode, but back to it. Yeah. We have Shiro as Takashi Shirogane. Who is a paladin, and he's the running gag is that he's a paladin every time.
And then he was Jiro.
And his little like white shock of hair is actually like a thing.
Yeah, it's actually his
That was
relevance to his
great.
character. Yeah.
Jewelry.
Yeah, he reappears as his twin brother Jiro at the end, and everyone accepts that. What do you think of that move as a DM, Andy? Allowing
I would have
Shiro to
shut that
reappear?
down like after like second one. Like, yeah, you're done. You're done playing a paladin, man. You can't do that.
No, well, how about him just reappearing as his twin after he dies in the same
that's
room?
definitely not okay.
Can't do that.
If you introduce a character and say you have a twin and you talk to me like, this is actually my twin, I might not play as him later, but like, I do have a twin that exists in the world. It's clear that Shiro just made up the twin on the spot. Like, that's not okay.
I guess he wanted to get back in the action. Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
I think the Shiro Paladin gag, at least at first, was really funny.
Yeah.
Like definitely like the funniest part of the episode. I think we ran it into the ground.
But I think it was good because it made sense with the stuff that was going on outside of their game.
Yeah.
Because Shiro cloned stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if we're tying it to the Shiro being, I also think it just makes sense with Shiro's character. He's just very, he's the noble one. Like, oh, this is a parody of the Shiro archetype. Like, he's always just wants to be a paladin. He knows no other way. And also, like, obviously commentary on them being paladins themselves. Yeah, so I found that very funny in relation to Shiro. And he's like eaten by mice at one point, so we brought in the mice. It's like, yep, that happened in the game too.
And he had the most detailed backstory, which I think was funny because he was kind of like not that in it in terms of only being a paladin. He was like rigid, but he had a strong backstory and was like sticking to it the whole time.
Yeah, I
That was
really love
funny.
that too. Like the writers for the show really made the characters enjoy the characters they made. I really liked how Lance got into his backstory too. Like everybody had a
Yes.
backstory that they enjoyed, and it was because when you write a backstory for your character, like you get into it. You're really into your backstory when you write it, and you really want people to enjoy it. But nobody else in the party really cares that much, and they really showed that. Like
Yeah.
your backstory is yours, and nobody else's.
But Shiro's tortured past.
Tortured, and they animated it a little differently, like a comic
Yeah.
book. I really liked
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, that was a great sequence. We have Allura as Valyun, the mystical archer.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yep.
And Lance as Pike, the thief.
I loved his design. It was so good. And how he just like kept teleporting all over the place. That was so good.
Yeah,
don't know
it's
why.
like, Lance, you're the thief, huh? Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
fits. Yeah, any other moments, Andy?
They made the one joke that did pop out to me that wasn't specifically a D&D joke was when Lance teleported away and left a log behind where
I
he
was
was.
going to point that out. I love that so much.
That was pretty funny. That was a really funny call out to a Naruto.
Yeah, a lot of different things we're trying to put into this
Yeah.
episode. It's kind of jam packed, but yeah, I think this is. I think I would say maybe the most successful comedic based episode the show has done.
Oh, it definitely was.
No,
And I love Voltron show, and this was much better.
okay, well, that's no comparison. No disrespect to Kaltenecker, but I think that the humor here landed a lot better than
Yeah.
previous Voltron.
How is
things.
Kaltenecker not in this episode? This was the perfect episode for Kaltenecker.
Yeah, why didn't Kaltenecker just? How did you get out of the and then he
Cora
vents in
should have
the
just
room?
included Kaltenecker in the campaign. That's something
Yeah,
as a DM you should do.
yeah. I mean, maybe they thought that was too. There's too much. That would have been
Yeah.
a lot.
Maybe it's too much.
I'm fine with not including Kaltenecker, but no, people may disagree with that. So yeah, I think these are two really solid episodes. For different reasons, but yeah, so far this quote unquote season been very good, and been very much looking forward to the last 3 episodes. Anything else you wanted to talk about from either the episodes or final thoughts? Let's start with Jeff.
No. I think we've covered everything. Solid pair of episodes. Preferred the second one. Can't wait to see what happens next. And now that I won't be on any more podcasts, I can just binge it.
Yes, that's all. That's the good part. It's we're excited to see them too, but we've been pacing ourselves with the podcast. Hayley, final thoughts.
Yeah, I liked both these. I'm liking this season a lot. I think it's really good, and there's been a few moments that feel either a little bit too fast or too slow, but overall, I'm quite happy with the pacing and like the characters that we're seeing. Yeah, and then even with an episode like Monsters and Mana that is not really have any plot relevance, still it didn't feel like a drag having to watch it. It was actually really entertaining. And then to be followed up by The Colony, which was, I think the end of that was really, really good, and exciting. And then the flashbacks and everything were great as well. So yeah, no, I'm excited for the coming episodes.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. Monsters and Mana. Sometimes Voltron, as much as we like it, can be a little bit boring to watch. Monsters and Mana was absolutely not boring. So that was
No, it was great.
Yeah. Andy, final thoughts.
I really loved episode 3. 4 kept my attention. I'm really excited to see what happens next, but it's hard for me to talk about 4 because 3 was just everything I could have asked for. It was perfect. I woke up and I'm like, I watched this episode last night. I woke up and immediately watched it again because I just needed to see it again. It's just so good. And one moment that we didn't mention yet was that the moment when Lance talked about the 20-sided dice and he had no idea how. He was like, "It has to
that
be
was
enormous.
so good.
It has to be enormous." The pitch is like, "It's a normal sized dice. It just has 20 sides."
Yeah,
That was a really good moment. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, we get D20 jokes in
Yeah.
in Voltron now. I buy Lance not understanding the
Yeah.
20-sided dice. Yep, I think it makes sense. Great episodes here. Very much looking forward to getting into 5 and 6 next podcast. If you're listening as this comes out, it'll be up later today. Find everything at overlyanimated.com. Make sure you subscribe to not miss our future of Voltron stuff. You can join us in the discussion on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Alex, aka Esteban Universidad. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. Here's more of I'm a Leg by the Shakeups. Check out their new album, Legendary Defenders, and find them at theshakeups.net for more. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.